Hello everyone, I welcome you to Drishti IAS and to the series of 100 most important topics for environment and ecology targeting UPSC Prelims 2026. I welcome you to this series, and this is the second video of this particular discussion. If you haven't watched that earlier video, go through it and then you can simply connect with it as well. Okay, so here in this video guys, I have again brought to you very important topics. Those are dealing with those. You will find many questions were asked on this topic in the PYQs, and equally as you will find, you will have a practice question to have your efficiency to test you immediately your knowledge base over that particular issue. So these are the range of issues we are going to have discussion on today. But before that guys, we shall discuss those PYQ, those practice questions given to you in the last video itself, last discussion itself. Okay, so now many of you have commented your answer, and the thing is now it is time to check it and verify it also. See, again for the question on habitat and niche. Habitat refers to the functional role of a species in an ecosystem. Is it functional role? It is an address. Okay, so that is a region. Then niche includes range of environmental conditions tolerated by species. Niche is rather a functional role. Okay, so that is not also two species occupying the same niche cannot coexist indefinitely. Okay, so for this case where two species having same niche position, they cannot coexist. One has to eliminate it or otherwise migrate. Okay, so answer is C. Okay, so congratulations all of you who have attempted and answered it also correctly. Then PYQ based practice question, it was food chain. Food chain illustrate the order in which the chain of organism feeds upon. Yeah, that is correct. Food chain found within the population. No. Food chain illustrate the number of each organism which are written by others. So answer is not number, is not reflected by number pyramid, rather reflect this. So answer to this is one only. Okay. Next, again on biogeochemical cycle. So to answer to this, release of nutrients to the other cycle, that is phosphorus cycle. In phosphorus cycle, rock plays a very important role. This question is on biomes, and they usually shouldn't find this kind of lengthy question very difficult, but that is absolutely not the case guys. Just to identify clues over from this kind of question, and you will land up into the final answer. Okay, so leaf litter, it decomposes, the erosion is there, and once you cut the forest, it is difficult to grow it again. Okay, because soil is less with the nutrient content, and that usually happens here in the tropical rainforest condition. Okay, so answer is D to this question. Next question on biomagnification and accumulation. We discussed in there itself. Bioaccumulation is storage of that tropical pollutant. Magnification is amplification of that particular with each successive tropic level. So you will find increase in the pollutant concentration within a single organism. No, that is not a case. That is not magnification. Increase in pollutant concentration at successive tropic level. Answer is B to this question. Okay, so just for the confusion actually. So then again question on biogeochemical cycle. The phosphorus cycle does not have a significant gaseous phase. That is again not a case itself. Okay, nitrogen fixation can occur through both the biological and physical processes. Yes. And sulfur cycle is entirely, is it really sedimentary in nature? Is it really possible? That is extreme in itself. So you will find answer, 1 and 3 is incorrect anyway, 1 is not, second is rather correct. Okay, then now we have all this PYQ practice question discussed. Let me know how many of you have attempted it correctly. Okay, so now the topic first for today, in situ and ex situ conservation. See, conservation, see I had question in the interview, that is difference between preservation and conservation. Okay, difference between preservation and conservation. Guys, are you aware about this? If yes, let me know in the comment box then. Yes, so conservation is simply when the things are allowed to use, biotic resources are allowed to use, ecosystem resources are allowed to use, but in a very sustainable manner. That is conservation. Let me know what is preservation. Okay, so here conservation of ecosystem or biodiversity just could be of two ways. whether it is taking place at the same place of its origin, that is in situ, है ना, at the native place itself, and ex situ is away from native. ठीक है, if it is away from native place, that is ex situ means of conservation. So in situ and ex situ, simply you will find what? In situ, national park, right? National park, wildlife sanctuary, biosphere reserve, conservation reserve, community reserve, sacred groves. These are all examples. Then ex situ. Then if you are either the whole organism or the parts of that organism, you know, migrating to some other place for the purpose of conservation. Botanical garden, zoological park, then gene bank, seed bank. Okay, all these are what examples of this cryopreservation. These are example of this way. Remember, between these two, in situ conservation is best, and among all, in fact, I would say biosphere reserve is the best means of conservation. Okay? Now, have a question that was asked in the examination. Which one of the following is not a site for in situ method of conservation of flora? So, which is not biosphere reserve in situ, botanical garden is ex situ, in situ, in situ. Answer is B. Yeah? Then have a practice question on this. You will let me know your answer in the comment box, guys. Okay? Then protected area network, right? Protected area network. Now, see guys, protected area network, simply what does it imply? This concept has introduced in India after Stockholm Conference. Okay? So, particularly in the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, when Indira Gandhi attended the Stockholm Summit, she was so inspired, and you will find successive environmental initiatives were taken. Okay? So, Wildlife Protection Act 1972 had conservation protected areas like National Park, Wildlife Sanctuary, Conservation Reserve, and the Community Reserve also. So, on the side of Environment and Ministry of Environment, Envis portal, you will find this information has been given. However, not very much updated, but fine then. Yes. So we have as of now 5.28% of overall protected areas, and number almost ranging around 1000 plus. Okay, so number must be more. So in total we have 5.3% of our area protected. Okay. Now see guys, one thing what I have observed with the top question on the protected area network, every question is unique. Every question is different. That rarely chance of repetition is there, but every time question is having some sort of connect with the past. Okay. So now have a look over the question. Okay. So first, consider the following pairs: national park and river flowing through national park. Okay. So national park and river flowing through national park. This is what the question. Corbetta National Park, that is the first park, national park got established here in the country, and it is not Ganga, Rama Ganga that rather flows through. Kaziranga in Assam, not Manas, it is Brahmaputra. And then Silent Valley National Park, it's not Kaveri. Okay, so answer basically none to this question. Okay, then 2018 wala question, have a look over. In which of the following states Pakhui Wildlife Sanctuary is located? Pakhui, right? So Pakhui Wildlife Sanctuary, that is located in Arunachal Pradesh. That is also Pakke Tiger Reserve it is. Okay, so Pakke Tiger Reserve, that is where you will find this Pakhui Wildlife Sanctuary is located. Now have a practice question on. Then okay, you will be answering me in the comment box, and we will discuss this in the next episode then, guys. Okay, now next one is Biosphere Reserve, the most important conservation means. Yeah, Biosphere Reserve 1971, this concept was actually put into domain by UNESCO, right, under its Man and Biosphere program, wherein see the target is to protect the whole habitat ecosystem itself, है ना? So that you will find it's not single species is what targeted, rather the whole habitat and ecosystem needs to be protected, है ना? So it includes number of biosphere, national park, wildlife sanctuaries, and accordingly. Equally, these biosphere reserves are backed by that particular country's legislation as well. Okay, so for India, Parliament is rather supporting it by act. Okay, so in India we have 18 as such, right? Cold desert, that is in Spiti Valley, Himachal Pradesh, and that Leh Ladakh, Nanda Devi, Uttarakhand, Kanchenjunga, Sikkim, Dihang Debang, that is one of the smallest here in Arunachal, then Manas, Dibru Saikova, Assam, Nokrik, Meghalaya, Sundarban, the largest one in Bengal, then Simlipal in Odisha, Panna, Panchamadi, Achanakmar, Amarkantak, Madhya Pradesh, Run of Kutch, that is newly declared, that is this Biosphere Reserve, that is in Gujarat, then Sheshachalam, Nilgiri, Gulf of Mannar, Agastya Malay. Nilgiri lies on the tri-junction, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. And the very isolated, however, very important, Great Nicobar project. Okay, this one. Now, again, this Biosphere Reserve and National Parks, they works on this technology of conservation, on means of conservation, core buffer transition. Okay, core buffer transition. And here in this particular type of protection methodology, conservation means, you will find these areas are highly isolated from the rest of the case. Now, you cannot enter into this area. Buffer area is equally protected. Tourism is partly allowed there for the research and that purpose. And transition is zone where we are actually allowed to, right, in Biosphere Reserve and National Park. So these areas are very, very, very protected areas. Okay. So remember this core buffer transition. Now, question that was asked in the PYQ about Agastya Malay Biosphere Reserve. See, guys, now many of you must be, this question seems very difficult, hai na? Which of the following includes or included under Biosphere Reserve Agastya Malay? Okay. Now it seems like there are many, names, and you must not be very much aware about these names. Okay. But remember, guys, this kind of difficult appearing questions are not actually difficult. What you have to, you just have to find out the odd man out, and you will have your answer. Now started from the end. Tawal, Sri Venkateshwara, Nagarjun Sagar, Sri Salem, largest tiger reserve in Andhra Pradesh. So Andhra Pradesh and this Agastya Malay is in Kerala. Now we have already located. Okay? So there seems a very distant gap between these two. There it seems no possibility. Okay? Then Kundaliya, Gunda, Brahmeshwaran, Papikunda Wildlife Sanctuary and Mukurti National Park. These are basically in Andhra Pradesh. Okay? So that is even not a possibility. Then Mudumalai, Satyamangalam, Wayanad and Silent Valley seems in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, so seems a possibility. However, the best option is Neyar, Idalpepara, Shenduri and Kalakkad Mundatharai National Tiger Reserve. Sorry, this forms the part of Agastya Malay National Park. Okay? Biosphere Reserve. Sorry. So you have to eliminate, guys, over here to land into final. Next, with reference to India's desert national park, okay, desert national park, which of the following statements are correct? That is, on Biosphere Reserve you may consider, protected areas you may consider, whatever. Okay, it is spread over 2 districts. First, yeah, it is spread over this. There is no human habitation inside the park. See, if I attempted this question that is simply based on this extreme statement, if that is not correct, because there must be tribals, yeah, inside the park also. So 2 answer is 1 and no even need to read the rest, but that is equally the habitat of great Indian bustard. Okay, then have a practice question and let me know your final answer in the comment box. Next, biodiversity hotspots. See, biodiversity hotspots are simply, see guys, biodiversity must be, you must be aware of variety of life, and hotspot simply reflects, yes, hotspot reflect the danger, where the sign of danger or threats are there. Okay, so simply these are the regions where variety of life existence, but they are facing threat or danger. So what sort of conditions or criteria are suitable for this? Have a look in order to answer this case. So India, we have 4 biodiversity hotspots. One, that is Himalayas, right? One, that is the Himalayas. This one first, Himalayas. Second, Eastern Himalayas. Third, Western Ghat. Okay, Western Ghat. And fourth, Andaman and Nicobar as part of that Sunda island group. Okay, Sunda Indonesian island group. So that considered as a part of this. So we have 4 biodiversity hotspots. Now, in order to identify the criteria for this one, now try solving this question. See, to qualify as a biodiversity hotspot under conservation international criteria, a region must have at least 1500 endemic vascular plant species. Yes. Yes. Have at least 70% of its original habitat. Yes, that is. And at least 1 endemic vertebrate species. That is not, there is no such a criteria needs to be considered. Answer to this is 1, and I hope you are getting this thing, guys. Yeah. Then next, IUCN red list category. Yes, IUCN red list categories, guys. Okay, so see, IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, that is an international NGO. It is right that consider the protection of wildlife species as its duty. So it involves all government, bureaucrats, stakeholders, and NGOs also to spread awareness and to take actually some corrective measures to reverse the damage that we have got it. Red data book is equally published by IUCN. Okay, so where threatened species are listed. Okay, and IUCN has this categorization, identified this categorization level of species there. Okay, so here you will find least concern means species are not very in danger, but again their number is stable, their number is rising, but again you have to be aware about them. Near threatened is what their number is declining, right, and the area possibly shrinking. Look into this, but that is again not very cause of danger. But vulnerable, it means now that is under threatened category, wherein you will find less like lion, African element, polar bear, you will find these are threatened, which reflects that their number is declining and area is shrinking. You have to take corrective measure. Endangered is a severe category where area has considerably shrink and number has declined, and possibly it then would enter into the next category, that is endangered. Critically endangered is now the least one, and possibly if you won't take corrective measure, its number would be in the near future would get zero. So this is the extreme category, critically endangered, like mountain gorilla, black rhinos, or Californian dog, right? So this way you will find you have to protect it also, gharial also, right? This way. Then extinct in the wild and wild, right? Before declaring any species extinct, we consider it is what it's sighting for 5 years, right? Extinct in the wild, okay? And then only you will find to be declared it as. Okay, so IUCN categorize this species just to spread awareness, just to have create awareness among the communities, among the regions for this. Okay, next. So see, question: the red data book published by the International Union for Conservation of Nature contains list of endemic plants and animal species? No. Threatened plant and animal species? Yes. And protected sites for conservation of nature and natural resources? It does not have any of such. Okay, so that's this case, right? So answer to this is you. Okay, then now have a practice question. You will answer this in the comment box, guys. Okay, critically endangered, what does that mean? Then the next one, now environmental legislation, we are entering into this category. The most important act, that is known as Wildlife Constitution of India, Wildlife Constitution of India, that is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. This act is very important because it declares protected areas, as I already told you, national park, wildlife sanctuary, conservation reserve, community reserve. Okay, and it equally gives the central government to right to protect the species as well. Okay, here under wildlife protection act, you will find some bodies or in protection bodies have been created, like National Tiger Conservation Authority, right? Then Central Zoo Authority also. Okay, Central Zoo Authority also has been created under National Wildlife Act 1972. This act equally laid the foundation for Project Tiger, Project Lion, then later Project Elephant, and all this protection conservation measures have been taken again in accordance with the Wildlife Protection Act. In addition, guys, this act has 6 schedules. It used to have in fact 6 schedules. However, the schedules have been updated. Okay, so they have been made 4 now, but 6 schedules are there. Schedule 1, enjoying species highest level of protection in the country. Okay, highest level that is given to tiger. The same level of protection is given to this range of species. Second is equally important range of species mentioned there in the schedule 2. Then schedule 3 you will find, and schedule 4, these are enjoying level of protection, but they if they are violated, the killing or poaching is there, so punishment is less. Then schedule 5, it was of the vermin, and schedule 6 of licensed plant species. Licensed plant species, right? So these are the 6 schedules here in the Wildlife Protection Act. However, now 2 of them have been eliminated and 1, 2, 3, 4 have been kept there. Okay, but these 2 are merged further. The vermin has now been avoided. Okay, removed there. Now, have PYQs based on this understanding then. If any particular plant species is placed under Schedule 6 of the Wildlife Protection Act 72, what is the implication? It means that plant species need a license to cultivate. Okay? So a license is required to cultivate that plant. Answer is A. You can go through other options. According to this act, which of the following animals cannot be hunted by any person except under some provisions provided by the law? Ghadial, Indian wild ass or wild buffalo? Answer is all of the. These are the Schedule 1 species, guys. Okay? Schedule 1 and enjoys the highest level of protection. No killing is allowed. Then practice question, it was a PYQs basically. Okay? So you will let me know in the comment box your answer to this particular question. Then next is Environmental Constitution of India, that is Environment Protection Act 1986. By the 86, we had faced a lot of pollution issues, water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, that came into like forefront. So central government has realized that that environment should be again in the concurrent list itself, that should be both the government should have the right, and central government need to have a greater power to actually protect the environment itself. So under this act, central government had been empowered to take corrective measures, punish the industries, individuals also for the violation of for pollution. So here environment is well defined, here the duties of state governments are defined, here the duties of central governments are defined, then the inspection authorities are what kind of empowered it is, what kind of fine are being imposed on industries violating and leading to pollution also, those you will find here defined under. Various bodies have been established under this, like genetic engineering appraisal committee, or you will find environment impact assessment is equally under this. Central groundwater authority is also under this, okay, in order to protect groundwater as well. Then you will find coastal regulatory zones are again product of this. Okay, this is what a bonus for you for this session. As usually I told you, you will get a bonus. And see guys, everything is what clubbed here into one single page. Yeah, that is simply clubbed into one single page, and you have to, yes, note it down as well. And now this is what about Environment Protection Act. So remember one thing, that is where central government is empowered, these bodies have been created and no public participation has actually expected. That is a limitation of this act. Okay? Now have a question that was asked in 20. Now the Environment Protection Act 1986 empowered the government of India, central government, to state the requirement of public participation in the process of environment protection and the procedural manner in which it is sought. Actually, this seems a very general statement, and answer to this one is correct, right? It seems, but answer this statement is incorrect because Environment Protection Act does not specify any public participation. That's the reason it was. Then to lay down the standard for emission of discharge of environmental pollutants from various, yes, so standards have been, but remember public participation has not been. Okay. Next is question again from the PYQ itself, but you will be answering, that is easy. I have already given you a clue to answer this question. Let me know it in the comment. Then Biological Diversity Act, that is again very important. In order to implement CBD, yes, CBD principle, the Convention of Biological Diversity, Nagoya Protocol, this act was enacted. Okay. It is again under equitable and fair benefit sharing with the local, that is the principle accepted over here. So that biodiversity resources, genetic resources here in the country needs to be protected, identified, and then its benefits needs to be translated, provided to the local community also. That is the very intention with which it was declared. Okay. So here May 22nd is International Day of Biological Diversity. Remember this. And biological diversity again equally defined under this act. You can go through. Okay. It is defined on 3 diversity. The first ecosystem, then at the species level, then at the genes level also. So 3 levels, 3 types of ecosystem you will find. Now, in order to understand this act, see, consider this. Which of the bodies are developed under or established under Biological Diversity Act 2002? National Biodiversity Authority, NBA, yes. State Biodiversity Boards, yes. And Biodiversity Management Committees also in order to manage this case. So answer to this question is C. But in addition, you will find here also national geo-heritage site and a bio-geo-heritage sites are equally been declared, but that is under the rights of state government. So remember, this NBA or this Biological Diversity Act empowers the state government to declare these geo-heritage sites. Okay. Now next is Forest Conservation Act 1980. Guys, this act is, after 1927 Forest Conservation Act, that was very much intended to exploit forest resources of India, because British government had enacted it, and with the intention to get as much as profit and revenue as possible. So in order to remove this fallacy or this problem with the act, then in 1976, the Forest Conservation Committee recommended, National Forest Conservation Committee, that we should have a new act. And under this, you will find central government that empowered to allow any deforestation, right? There should be a penalty for the cutting of forest, and that is without permission itself. Then there is a compensatory afforestation principle that has already been mentioned, where under if you cut down forest at one place, you have to pay it for its regrow at another place. Okay, that is to be known as compensatory afforestation, and accordingly measure needs to be taken, plus 33% of forest cover is what equally targeted. Then the next act, Forest Rights Act 2006. Considering the forest dweller, tribals, they are the true native of this forest land. They define their identity with the help of forest, and if we are not going to entertain them right within their this particular forest, their rights is violated. So this act in 2006 has been enacted, giving them individual rights and community right also. Okay, community right, wherein individual right up to 4 hectares of land just could be given if you are native of 75 years or more, and community right to have managed forest produce, habitat right, cultural right also, title right, you will find are being given over to the community. Baigas, right? Baigas are such community, those have been given habitat right over on this Forest Right Act. Okay, so that you have to consider this way equally. Okay, what sort of act? Forest dwellers and other than forest tribal forest dweller, that category have been created and they have been given accordingly. Okay, so now guys, just simply based on this explanation, that is the practice question given to you. Now try answering this practice question, solving them, and let me know in the comment box. Yes, so this is all about for today's topics and discussion. I think we have discussed it in all details, and that way if you really like it, don't forget to subscribe, share and comment over in the. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.